Joel Embiid won a gold medal in the Olympics with Team USA. What did he get from being in there? What can we take away from his performance? And secondly, the power forward position. The Sixers still in search of a power forward. Who are some of the targets they can go after? We'll talk about that and more next on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Well, Keith Pompey, this is my co-host John Mitchell, my right-hand man. Great. And we, as I said, are the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers. We got a lot to talk to y'all about today. We want to talk about Joel Embiid's Olympic performance. What are the biggest takeaways from it? How can that benefit him, or can it benefit him in the regular season? And then secondly, we're going to talk about, the Sixers free agent thing. They got everything besides a power forward. I take that back. They have one power forward, KJ Martin, but they're looking for another one. So we'll talk about that. Mitch, Embiid won a gold medal. He helped them basically get to the finals with a superb performance and the semifinals, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest takeaway, or how did you grade his performance, and what is the biggest takeaway? And do you feel like this can help him in the regular season?
What grade do I give Joel? I give him a solid B, man. I do. I think, people kept looking at that situation, the Olympic team, as if he's supposed to come in there and just be the dominant player. And you don't build that roster with one guy, looking at one guy to be that dominant player. Was he benched? Yes, but a guy who just won a world championship was benched. Would they have advanced to the gold medal game without the presence of Joel Embiid in the fourth quarter against Serbia? That's debatable. They may not have advanced without his presence in that game. If you look at his numbers, and he was one of 6 players to average in double figures scoring. He shot 54% from the field. Didn't take a whole lot of threes, but he made 57% of them. Steph led the way with 14.8 points per game. This is more of a winning with that Olympic team. You should win a gold medal with that Olympic team every year. Every 4 years, you should win with that team, with the American players. I don't care who's representing them, because I think there's a bigger degree of separation between the Americans and the rest of the field still. I don't care how much better the world is getting. So considering, what Joel did out there, he was key in one game. He was without him, you can make the argument that they don't get past Serbia in that semifinal game. And I think, getting booed on the international stage, even though he seemed to kind of play into that, I don't think he was particularly bothered by that. I think that the one thing you will do, when you're around all these elite athletes, when Sydney McLaughlin is doing what she's doing, and Simone Biles is doing what she's doing in the Olympics, and when you're around athletes performing at a super duper high level, and you have to make concessions because you're an elite athlete, because you're now playing with the best basketball team in the world and the best basketball players in the world, your numbers are just not going to jump off and blow people away. So I think he can take a level of maturity and a feeling of what it's like to win, because he hasn't won jack here in Philadelphia, So I'm hoping that kind of wet his whistle, Keith.
Yeah, I think giving him a B is a little bit high. And now I understand that he did play well in that one game, and maybe I'll say a C or something like that. I mean, but the reason being is I'm talking about the totality of everything, right? He just, to me, he just didn't look good at certain times. I mean, they couldn't play him against state. I mean, I get the whole Jason Tatum thing.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't play. I get the thing about uh, Halliburton not playing, but the difference is Embiid was a starter and he
Mm-hmm.
was unplayable against South Sudan, right? Now I will give him credit for, like you said, in that game in the semifinals when he did what he did against Serbia. So
Right.
he can step up. Um, so I'll give him credit for that. But when I got to grade everything,
Mm-hmm.
I think, I mean, you maybe a C, but
Well,
I don't,
maybe see.
you know what I mean, huh?
You got him in summer. You got him in summer school, Key. You gonna
No,
have
I don't know. I got him just passing, but I got him to see. But at the
yeah.
same time, in regards to what can he take from it, like I don't really know, because my thing is it's kind of like, there he was the let's be 100. There he was just a piece. I mean, a important piece, but he was a piece. No matter who they have on the 76ers roster, and I get the Paul George thing, and everybody's excited. But at the end of the day, if Joel Embiid doesn't play well, they don't get out. They don't win a playoff series.
Right.
That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be different. Now, I feel like what the thing it did do is it helped his legacy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he was an Olympic gold medalist. He won a medal. He can put that up there with his list of accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you can also argue at certain times from a season standpoint. And I'm a guy who said I want to see him playing in the Olympics. But you can argue from a season standpoint the way he looked at times, and where he might have been better suited just resting, doing
Yeah.
rehab.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, So like for me, we'll find out. But I just feel like that to see how it's going to help him in the NBA is to be determined. Now, if he comes out and he's passing the rock and taking a back seat, which I don't see happening, then
Mm-hmm.
I say he learned
Yeah.
how to play with other elite players. But I feel like he's going to be the focal point still.
Oh, he is, and when here's how I'm looking at it, because I mean, again, for me, I did want to see him show up in better condition than he showed up in. That disappointed me. Um, uh, I want, and again, I keep harping on this 270, 275 number, 280 for his body weight, but just for playing in the Olympics, if you take the NBA out of it, and I think you have to, because he didn't look like the Joel Embiid we're used to seeing and however many games he plays during the regular season and even in the postseason. But that's why just grading him on how he played as an Olympian. I know he got benched. I know he didn't look all that good. But again, when you put that kind of team together, everybody has got to take a step back, except the super greats like LeBron, and Steph showing up the way he did in the fourth quarter of the championship game. I'll give him, like I said, I'll give him a solid B. But in giving him that B, I'm totally taking out what he did. I'm totally taking away NBA. There's just no NBA equation. Now, hopefully, he does carry that desire to win, and we can talk about this a little bit more, some other things when we get back. But right now, I want to talk to you folks about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guarantee Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your hard-earned money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need and the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen of the day. For the second listen, enjoy the Locked On NBA podcast. There is no offseason in the NBA, and Locked On NBA provides daily basketball analysis from national and local experts in 30 minutes or less. No one keeps you as informed and entertained as Locked On NBA. Available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Do it today, people. Definitely do it today. So the next thing I guess we got to talk about is, the power forward position. So when we look at it, Marcus Morris to me is still the best fit. You wondering why it's taking so long to make it work out. Now I know that Marcus is going through getting a new agent and everything like that, and it tends to take like 14 days and this and that. So maybe they want to negotiate some things or whatever to see the type of deal they can get. After he, after like he gets the agent, right? But
Right.
you can't basically get more than a minimum, but you can get bonuses, you can do some other things, you can get some, just incentives, whatever. But to me, I feel like he's the best bet. But Mitch, I'm gonna be honest, like I also feel like for right now, this is something that they don't need to rush and do, right? Because you look at it, and again, but Jason Tatum is 6'10", but he's a wing. But they
Right.
had him playing power forward, and this
Mhm.
brother got all NBA.
What
I
a
mean,
championship.
won a championship,
Mhm.
first team All NBA. Now Steve Kerr, it didn't mean anything to him because he benched the dude,
Right.
but at the same time he got all NBA. And then you look at the New York Knicks when Julius Randle went down, they started a point guard,
Yeah.
two shooting guards, a small forward, and a backup center
Yeah.
against the
Yeah.
Sixers,
Yeah.
and they won that series. And one of those shooting guards was basically playing power forward in Josh Hart, right?
And doing work on the glass.
And won't work, right? He averaged a double against the Sixers in that series. So, but there are certain guys who really impressed you, and I guess one of them played against the Sixers in the Olympics, and I guess you figured maybe they can give him a shot, or do you think they should, or what, or
Yeah.
just see him?
Yeah. I mean, I have heard that name talked about, the Gerson Yabusele. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Most famously the guy who scored 20 against the USA in the gold medal game. Most famously the guy who came down and banged on LeBron. He's 28 years old now, and the Celtics actually drafted him, or he
Yeah,
played in
played
20.
for him.
Yeah. So he's got some experience. It didn't work out for him in the NBA, but that was about 8 to 10 years ago.
Yeah,
And he averaged 14 points per game and shot the ball well, and was on the second team All Paris, All Olympic team with some uh, Franz Wagner, SGA. So he might even be a guy you take a flyer on. I wouldn't say necessarily. They're beggars can't be choosy at this point in the free agency process. But the one thing you said, Keith, and I think it makes a lot of sense, is you can't rush this. There's no need to rush it now because teams have been successful without having whatever the standard power forward is on their roster. Now, I mean, the power forward in the NBA is becoming the NBA's version of the fullback in the NFL. It's just not as necessary as it once was. And if you don't have one, you figure it out. And if you do have one who is a legitimate, guy who can shoot the three, and who can bang down low and get your boards and get out and run, then you got something special. But you've also got something that's rare, and is really on the wane in the NBA. So I agree with you, Keith. It's let's get into the season. Let's see what happens with Marcus Morris, and I feel good about that. I think once he gets all this stuff settled, I wouldn't excuse me, I wouldn't be surprised if he wound up saying, "Hey, man." I mean, I'm out here fishing for the best deal, and that's what everybody out there is left trying to find the best deal that fits them. Um, and it just might not be there. It just might that
Mhm.
not there necessarily. Why not come home and play for the 76ers? So, bide your time, recognize that you have a good roster, and if you do make a move, you want that move to be impactful.
Yeah. See, the problem with Jerusalem was when he was with the NBA. Now he played 2 seasons with the Boston Celtics. Now he averaged 2.3 points. He played in 7 games with 5 starts.
Mm-hmm.
4 of those starts came his rookie season, right? He played
Uh,
in 33. Now, he only averaged 7.1 minutes, but
yeah.
this is where it really got to him. I think this was part of the problem with him. In today's NBA, especially as an undersized big, now he got bulk on him, but
Hmm.
he's 6'8". You got
Yeah.
to be able to shoot. So he shot 32% from three and 68% from the foul line.
Mm.
So it was kind of tough towards the end.
Yeah.
And, he did play in 16 playoff games, but his points per game were worse than that. He was point 0.8 points per game, point 0.8
Ooh.
rebounds
Ooh.
per game,
Mm.
right? He didn't make a single three, and he shot 50% from the foul line. But he's been world traveled. Like, he's from France.
Mm-hmm.
He played in different European countries. He also played in China for the Shanghai Sharks. He played with the G League team.
Mm-hmm.
He had a couple stops there, and now he's a star at Real Madrid.
Right.
Um, I just feel like his lack of shooting kind of hindered him a little bit,
Yeah.
in his stunt. But he's a
Yeah.
big dude,
Big
body.
body.
You got to be able to make some shots.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
He's got that so rough, so tough physicality with him.
Mhm.
And again, I mean, he's a name that's out there. He performed well on the world stage. But again, caution and being judicious is what the 76ers need to do right through here. I mean, they got that one roster spot open. Um, I mean, I like their position even without having the power forward on the roster. I think they can just, because they had a great off season. Um, you make that move when it's time to make it. Be in touch with everybody, and I have a feeling Marcus Morris is going to be here. I just do.
Yeah, same here. We'll be right back in a second. So we talk about Marcus Morris being here. They're like, and we talked about this guy off the top of your head. Are there any other guys? Like I keep hearing about Davis Bertans. I'm not a fan. Um, I'll put it this way: if you're looking for a traditional power forward, that's not the guy for you.
Right.
He's 6'10", 220 something pounds. But to me, he's kind of like he just comes in and shoot threes. But
Yeah.
if you're looking for a guy to come in and basically like grab rebounds, then you're gonna have a problem. I mean, that's gonna be a
Right.
problem. Now there are some other guys like there's Lamar Stevens, the kid from Roman Catholic,
Mhm.
but he's still kind of young. There's the former 76er Thad Young.
Mhm.
There's Jay Crowder. There's Gallinari, right? But to me, when you talk of Thad and Gallinari, those are two dudes who like, they're 35. They're still like
Yeah.
young in their age, but they got a little bit of mileage on them, right? And
Yeah.
they guys who like at the end of the bench right now. Jay Crowder, I always felt like if the 76ers would have traded Tobias a couple of years ago, Jay Crowder would have been a good option
Mm-hmm.
just because Tobias wasn't getting the rock the way he thought he wanted to. He
Right.
wanted to. So you needed somebody else that could come in there and muck it up, do other things. But but you know, that was 2 years ago. So
Right.
is there anybody offhand that you feel like outside of the ball from overseas that could that could be a fit?
Yeah. Of the guys you mentioned, it's true, and I've been a fan of Gallinari, and Thaddeus was on the team when I covered him.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, we have a lot of guys on that roster. There are a lot of guys on that roster who do have some miles on them. And other guys you mentioned, and I'm not a Bertans fan either. Just like you say, I don't. I think you have a guy who can shoot the ball. You have enough shooters now. You need a guy who can do more of the traditional stuff. I think Jay Crowder can do more of that dirty work because you still got to have that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to have that physicality because you've got everything else you need. So does it become cliche to say you need the guy with the lunch pail and the hard hat? It is a cliche, but I think in this case it kind of works there. And Crowder, is a decent enough shooter. But that for what they need right now, I'm not going to overemphasize. It has to be a guy who can step out and be a shooter. I think of the guys you mentioned. I think Gallinari still has something in the tank, but they've got enough 30 guys, 34 and north of that age on the roster. So the guy who stands out to me would be again. I think we both had Marcus Morris at the top of our wish list for the 76ers, but I think Jay Crowder is probably that guy. And if you can get him, I would say continued kudos. Um, to Daryl Morey in his front office.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Be a good one. If you know, if you know you can't get Marcus or
Yeah,
anybody else, there might be a couple dudes that you could probably get in the trade. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That, if you're patient, So and that's what the Sixers could be. But
hmm
but we want to thank y'all for listening, and we want y'all to always have a blessed day. Thanks for making us your first listen. And for your second listen, go to Locked On NBA. This daily is always great things that great topics, and they talk about a lot. So and it's very informative. So make sure you go down to the description here, and you go and you see what click on there, and you'll get the Locked On uh, NBA. Stuff for today. So do that and have a great day, y'all. Peace.
Have a great one, y'all.